Get out of here! Suit yourself.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the ThatWyvernCritic YouTube channel. Today we are finally back with How to Train Your Dragon Motif with the second season and our first episode, What If Viggo Survived. I would like to thank Zilla Fury 2542 and Zachary Shadow Kill the First for the idea. Now without further ado, let's delve into this alternate timeline. After his apparent death during the raid against Johan and Krogan, Viggo Grimborn vanishes without a trace. Rumors of a lone man traveling the archipelago with a Skrill surface, but nothing is ever confirmed. While the riders continue their fight, they assume Viggo died a final redemptive death, up until the climax, in the final confrontation deep inside the Bewilder Beast's lair. Hiccup and the riders are overwhelmed, and Hiccup, Johan and Krogan make their way into the den of the Berserker Bewilder Beast, with Krogan and Johan attempting to steal the egg to hatch their own King of Dragons. However, they are interrupted by a flash of lightning and fury as the Skrill, ridden by Viggo, swoops in with surgical precision, disabling Krogan and Johan's weapons and providing cover for Hiccup to regroup. The two former enemies, now allies, fight back to back, holding the tide, with Viggo's presence holding it long enough for the riders outside to gain control and finally overcoming Johan. And once the battle is over and Johan is captured, Viggo refuses to return to Berk, still considered a wanted man by most tribes and haunted by his own past. He slips away before the others can stop him. However, before disappearing, he and Hiccup share a tense but meaningful conversation, Hiccup carrying both Dragon Eyes, debates destroying it once and for all to prevent it from being misused again as was done in the original timeline, but Viggo warns him against it, not because of the power that he can gain, but because of the knowledge they carry. He argues that understanding Dragon's underworld is more important than protecting others from it through ignorance. Reluctantly, Hiccup agrees, and Viggo vanishes into the wild. With his Skrill, though his path diverges from theirs, his final warning echoes in Hiccup's mind as a new enemy looms upon them. Following the events of Race to the Edge, Berk is thriving with dragons flying freely and peace seeming secure, until a familiar face finally returns. Viggo Grimborn arrives at Berk with his Skrill, battered but intact. Unlike the secretive entrance of Valka or the mysterious sightings of Drago's scouts, with Eret being seen in the original timeline, Viggo comes directly, not to fight, but to warn. He brings maps, intercepted messages, and first-hand accounts of Drago Bloodfist's expansion and plan to destroy Valka's mountain and other neighboring tribes, which include Berk. While his past still stirs distrust among some of the riders, Hiccup chooses to hear him out. Drago's army, as Viggo explains, is far worse than imagines. He doesn't just control dragons, he enslaves them with cruelty and brute force, using his own Bewilder Beast to dominate entire regions. Viggo offers critical intelligence about the warlord's approach, tactics, and psychological manipulation through his shared past with him. It is this foresight that allows Berk to begin evacuation and mount early defenses before Drago ever reaches them. Events unfold similarly to the original timeline, with Hiccup trying to reason with Drago, Valka being discovered but now at a later time, and Stoic ultimately confronting Drago to protect his son and being sacrificed. Unfortunately, this still leads to the death of Valka's Bewilder Beast, and also leads to his father's death, which will help him in his young chief journey. But this time, the riders are not caught off guard. With Viggo's help, their coordination is tighter, their defense is stronger, and the final battle is more secure, with Drago's wildebeest never actually reaching Berk, but Toothless still being ranked the Alpha and defeating him. Finally, Viggo chooses to fight at Berk and help them with their growing war against the Dragon Trappers as they prepare to face one final threat, the Night Fury Killer. In the time following Drago's fall, Berk flourished, dragons living among Vikings in harmony, and Hiccup, now chief, oversaw an era of exploration and rescue. With support from Astrid, Valka, the Dragon Riders, and the former enemy-turned-strategist Viggo Grimborn, the Riders expanded their reach, freeing dragons from hunters and bringing them to safety. But prosperity brought visibility and enemies. This alternate timeline begins with Berk at its peak, rescuing dragons from a well-organized hunter convoy as seen in the alternate timeline. Among the captives are strange, highly prized species, proof of a growing demand in shadowy corners of the world. Through intercepted messages, Viggo uncovers the name of the one hired to stop them, Grimmel the Grizzly. But unlike the original events, Grimmel's moves are anticipated, and Grimmel does not choose to release the Light Fury as early as was seen in the original timeline, with him trying to put simpler traps thinking that he can easily outsmart them. But Viggo's knowledge of hunter psychology and military strategy allows the riders to ambush Grimmel before he ever strikes. His traps fail, his fleet is dismantled, and in a decisive confrontation he is captured and brought to justice before inflicting real damage on Berk. Yet his defeat is not a final victory, as the real people who hired him, the warlords of the Northern Alliance, are still at large trying to attack Berk. Without him, they take matters into their own hands. Their warships begin striking Berk's supply routes, scouting its coastline and testing its defenses. What began as scattered raids escalates into a sustained siege. Rather than abandon their dragons, Berk adapts, the island is reinforced, and tunnels built for evacuation and dragon shelter. Riders rotate patrols day and night, dragons are trained for combat and evasion, and Hiccup, guided by Viggo's tactics and experience with dragon hunters, the island not only becomes a sanctuary but finally becomes a stronghold. But the idea of letting the dragons go never actually surfaced. With Grimmel's manipulations or the introduction of the Light Fury, Hiccup and Toothless remain grounded with their bond of keeping their dragon utopia. The Alpha, trusted and revered, leads its kind with clarity and purpose. Dragons and humans, now more synchronized than ever, face the world together. The hidden world is referenced sometimes from legend and through Dragon Eye, but it is never actually seen as a way to protect them. As Berk endures wave after wave of warlord pressure, it evolves into something new, a dragon Viking citadel withered by war, unbroken in spirit. We finally end our story off with Hiccup and Astrid marrying and becoming couple, and Viggo becoming one of Berk's elders and a top council member, still protecting it from dragon hunter clans whom he once partnered with. The only unfortunate thing in this timeline is that the Light Fury remains trapped and lives out her whole life in captivity.
And that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to comment down below what you thought of this alternate timeline what if, and as always, make sure to subscribe if you're new here. You don't want to miss what's coming next, like my live action noise spoiler and spoiler review, and the next season 2 what if episodes. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.